And welcome back to Who Would Win. So basically, I just decided to lump yesterday's and today's Who Would Win together. And today's, the first Who Would Win today comes to us from, let me get the name, Johnny Joe Star asked the question, who would win a fight? Cal Kent from the, basically DC 1 million universe versus the Magus from Marvel, who is basically the opposite of Adam Warlock. Now, Cal Kent is the distant descendant of Superman and leader of the Justice League Alpha from the 853rd century. He is the progenitor of the Superman dynasty. Kal-El was about to return from his solar fortress of solitude after several centuries. As part of the festival, the Justice Legion Alpha, Cal Kent included, went back in time to recruit ancient Justice League America. So he is essentially a long-distant relative of Superman. As such, he doesn't have, he's not Kryptonian, but he's got possesses many different alien biologies because due to various aliens and extra-dimensional beings have married into the Superman dynasty, including a fifth-dimensional princess in the 62nd century. So, yeah, he's got literally fifth-dimensional DNA and many other DNAs in him. Surprisingly, though, he's not actually part Kryptonian. What it is super solar enhancement. Cal Kent has made a pact with the incredible powerful Superman Prime that grants him the power of the solar system's enhanced super sun, reminiscent of, but greater than, and more varied than the solar absorption of a Kryptonian. But that actually points out, if I relative alignment, marital style, occupation, universe, place of birth, creators. 1 second. They don't actually give what type of being he is, but that actually basically points out that he's not Kryptonian. He still has the weakness of kryptonite, but he's not Kryptonian, at least not in the same sense as a normal normal Kryptonian would be. He has heat vision, X-ray vision, force vision, which allows him to protect means of force with his eyes to contain, manipulate, and repel. His own viewed limitations is that he's incapable of holding back an entire rampaging galaxy with his force vision unaided, requiring the aid of a Titano, the Superman of the Gorilla Galaxy. So a super gorilla Superman. Interesting. He also has energy, contra creation, flight, and vulnerability, super strength, superhuman speed, basically all of Superman's abilities, plus techno empathy, able to commune with simple minds electronic devices, enhanced hearing. But he does have a severe weakness. His powers are entirely tied to the super sun, not yellow sun radiation. And his abilities will drain in a matter of days and separated from it. Overexerting himself when isolated from an empowered race can kill him. So he's actually a bit more vulnerable than your average Kryptonian would be in such a circumstance. Now, the Magus is, again, Adam Warlock's basically altered half. Now, he's had different versions of himself throughout the history of throughout the history of the Marvel Universe. Though, ultimately, how it is perceived is that he is he's superhuman condition, like he has physical abilities that can go toe-to-toe with individuals like Thanos. Energy manipulation, cosmic energy source. He's a very powerful sorcerer, capable of teleportation, creating portals through other objects such as a mirror, checking his own arm through a device such as a telephone, time traveling, vast healing powers. He could heal Moondragon from a fatal wound in an instant, light force absorption. After escaping the Soul World, the Magus had a wraith-like form. He appeared as a semi-solid head in a trunk. And his lower half was ethereal stream. Physical attacks like that, or basically, he's still capable of absorbing life force, shape-shifting, quantum magic. His recent resurrection allows him to use the full might of quantum magic, a power developed to stop the expansion of the Fault. Like Adam Warlock, he is capable of various feats such as enchantment, transmutation, conjuring, closing space strips, magical energy projections, and powers that can be rejuvenated and powered by raw magical souls. Time manipulation. He can manipulate time even further. Reality transmutation, cosmic powers, ultra senses, psionics. Abilities. He possesses all the abilities of Adam Warlock, is a capable hand-to-hand fighter. He displayed his skills in swordsmanship and is able to defeat Gamora, a master martial artist and assassin, capable of using capped shield. Strength level, at first possessed strength level 10 by tapping into sources kinds of energy. Basically, he's roughly equal to Adam Warlock overall in strength. Weaknesses, though. During Earthfall, Magus was revived in Universal Church of Truth prematurely and rendered himself a childlike body, temporarily weakening his own powers. Well, that doesn't mean much. Ultimately, though, who wins in this fight? These two went toe-to-toe with each other. Who would win? Magnus would be the aggressor. He'd probably come to Earth, be like, so let's see the Earth in this dimension. I don't know how Magnus would actually sound. He's never been put to film or screen. Let's see how the Earth in this dimension has as opposed to the one in mine. And then, he goes around, and Cal Kent basically shows up, and it shows up, and the fight ensues. Now, I'll say, from a physical standpoint, Cal Kent's probably the stronger of the individuals. Absolutely. They'll go toe-to-toe. He'll probably throw some energy. The Magus will probably throw some energy out there. Now, here's the thing. Would he be capable? The real question in this fight ultimately would be, would Magus be able to identify, isolate, and counteract, identify his weakness and exploit his weakness of his dependence on the Super Sun? It's a really solid question. I think he's intelligent enough that I think he could. Would he, though? Like, is that the majority? I have to believe yes. And the reason is, this is a guy who was outwitting most of the Marvel Galaxy for a while. He was considered one of the biggest threats. And I think ultimately, he would be able to deduce the weakness. And if he is able to deduce the weakness in Cal Kent, then all he has to do is get him away from the sun or get rid of the sun. And Cal Kent ultimately will be finished off long term because he'll have no way to power himself up. And the more he exerts himself, the quicker he will lose strength. And Magnus can then just absorb, his life force energy out of him after that. So, I got to go with the Magus in this fight because I keep saying the Magnus, but there's no way. The Magus in this fight. I'm going to go with the Magus in this fight because ultimately I think he has the greater diversity in abilities that would allow him to beat him. So ultimately, I feel like he would deduce how to ultimately put him, Cal Kent down before Cal Kent ultimately puts him down. Not that Cal Kent couldn't put him down quick if he ultimately wanted to, but Magus is strong enough that he can at least handle a solid bout with Cal Kent. Now, if Cal Kent does, drag the fight on long enough, he would ultimately win. But I got to go with the Magus, but I'm going to go about 65-35 in that fight. I think there's a solid area where Cal Kent wins, but I got to go with, sorry, I just blanked out there. Sorry, the distraction. I got to go with the Magus. Again, 65-35. I think there's a way Cal Kent wins, but it's not the majority, unfortunately. Anyway, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed. Like, comment, share, subscribe. As always, if you want us to do something, review something, put in the comments below. Let us know. We'll do a review of it at some point. Ideas for who would win. Star Wars, Super Magic, what if, anything to do on the channel. Put that in the comments below as well. I'll get to that at some point. So thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed, and I'll be back in the next Who Will Win in a little bit.